It begins with a feeling you can't name. You're small, maybe 5, maybe 8, standing in a room that feels too heavy. And somehow, without anyone saying it out loud, you know. You have to be the one who makes this okay. Maybe it's a parent who rages unpredictably. Maybe it's one who weeps behind closed doors. Maybe it's the deafening quiet of two people who stopped speaking years ago. Or maybe it's something subtler. A mother who turns you into her confidant. A father whose mood determines whether the house breathes or suffocates. And in that moment, something primal awakens in you. If I don't fix this, no one will. This is how a child learns to abandon themselves. Not dramatically, but quietly, like turning down the volume on your own heartbeat so you can hear theirs instead. You stop crying when you're hurt because someone else's pain feels bigger. You start smiling when you're scared because your calm might keep them stable. You become an emotional translator, a mood reader, a tiny diplomat in a war you didn't start. And the world rewards you for it. You're so mature for your age. You're such a good kid. You're so easy. But no one ever asks, what did you have to kill inside yourself to become this easy? This is the invisible inheritance of emotional parentification, and it doesn't just affect some children. It affects millions. Across cultures, across countries, across every socioeconomic line. Because this isn't about poverty or privilege. It's about what happens when a child becomes the emotional adult before their brain is even fully formed. Let's start with what's actually happening in the brain. When a child is repeatedly placed in the role of emotional caretaker, when they're managing a parent's anxiety, rage, or sadness, the brain begins to wire itself around threat detection. This is called hypervigilance, and it's not a choice. It's a survival adaptation. You learn to scan faces for microexpressions. You learn which footsteps mean danger. You learn that your value is tied to your usefulness. You learn that love isn't given freely. It's earned by being good, by being quiet, by managing the unmanageable. And what gets lost? Your sense of self. Because when you spend your childhood regulating other people's emotions, you never learn to regulate your own. You never learn that your feelings matter, that you're allowed to take up space, to need things, to fall apart. Instead, you learn that your needs are inconvenient, that your pain is secondary, that your job is to disappear so others can be okay. Now let's talk about what this looks like in adulthood, because the effects don't announce themselves. They whisper. You might find yourself in relationships where you overfunction, managing everyone's emotions, anticipating their needs, fixing problems that aren't yours to fix. And when they don't reciprocate, you don't get angry. You just try harder. You might struggle with receiving. Compliments feel uncomfortable. A child's greatest need, greater even than food or shelter, is attachment. Connection to a caregiver is biological. It's life or death. So when that caregiver is emotionally unstable or unavailable, the child faces an impossible dilemma. Do I stay true to myself and risk losing them? Or do I become what they need and stay connected? The child will choose connection every time, even if it means abandoning themselves. And the saddest part? You probably still defend them. They did their best. It wasn't that bad. Other people had it worse. But let me ask you this. If it wasn't that bad, why does it still hurt? Here's what most people don't understand about trauma. It's not always the big, obvious things. Sometimes trauma is what didn't happen. The hug you needed but didn't get. The reassurance that never came. The apology you deserved but never heard. The moment someone should have said, "You're just a kid. This isn't your job." And because it's invisible, you spend your life wondering if you're just broken, too sensitive, making it all up. You're not. What you're experiencing is complex developmental trauma, and it's as real as any physical wound. So let's talk about healing. The first step is witnessing, not fixing, not bypassing, just seeing what happened to you with clarity and compassion. You were a child. You were small. You were vulnerable. And you did what you had to do to survive. But survival mode was never meant to be permanent. So now, your job is to go back and meet that child. Not to rescue them. You can't change the past. But to acknowledge them. To say the words no one else said. I see you. I'm sorry that happened. You didn't deserve that. And you don't have to keep carrying this alone. This is reparenting, and it's one of the most powerful tools in trauma healing. It means giving yourself what you needed then: validation, safety, permission to feel. It means letting yourself cry without apologizing, resting without guilt, saying no without fear of abandonment. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable, because your nervous system is wired for crisis, not calm. But discomfort isn't danger. It's just unfamiliarity. And slowly, you teach your body, it's safe to soften now. Here's what I want you to know. If you grew up too fast, if you became the adult when you should have been the child, if you're still walking through life feeling like you have to earn your place in every room, you're not broken. You were just a kid who did what they had to do to survive. But you're not that kid anymore. And the person you're becoming doesn't need to perform, to manage, to fix, or to shrink. You get to take up space. You get to need things. You get to rest. And maybe, for the first time, you get to grow up the way you were always meant to, slowly, safely, and surrounded by people who love you not for what you do, but for who you are. You never had a childhood, but you still have a future. And this time you get to write it.